Here, I would like to welcome everyone to OLLI, the Osher Lifelong Learning Institute at the University of South Dakota. We're coming to you from Sioux Falls today, and our guest speaker is also from Sioux Falls, and he is the, to use the term the kids use these days, the OG, original. In case you didn't know, OG means original. He's the guy who started SiouxperCon. And you may not know what SiouxperCon is, but I think you're going to find out that all the people from SiouxperCon and people who don't even know what they are have a lot in common. We're going to have a lot of fun today. Shane, welcome. Good to see you.
Thank you for having me. This is really cool. I like to consider myself a lifelong learner. At the urgings of my bride, I went back to school at, oh golly, 14 years ago. So I was 40 and got my degree late in life, and have turned it into a wonderful career as an addiction counselor. And so I continue to take classes and expand. So I enjoy this this concept, that you never stop learning. It's very important to me, and it's a big part of why Brian Brockmeyer and I started SiouxperCon. We wanted to create a place where people could not only celebrate their fandoms, but continue to learn and expand their minds about different areas that they may not know about. So SiouxperCon started with a simple question on Facebook. If we threw a comic book convention, would you come? And we had over 1,800 responses on that Facebook post. So Brian and I took a leap of faith, and we decided to throw a comic book convention. Brian put the hotel on his credit card, and I put the hotel rooms and the guest travel on my credit card. And we needed 500 people to show up in 2015 to break even. And on the first day, we had 1,200 people show up. So it was a resounding yes that Sioux Falls was hungry for a convention where people could come and celebrate comic books and video games and cosplay. We outgrew the Best Western Ramada within 2 years. Our second year, we had 3,600 people show up, and we overtook the hotel. And we quickly realized that our 5-year plan of moving to the convention center needed to move forward. And in year 3, we moved to the state-of-the-art Sioux Falls Convention Center. It was at that time, as we looked at this humongous, beautiful building, that we realized there was a huge opportunity for us to do so much more than fall into that small area of comic book convention. I don't know if you all know, but South Dakota has 3 comic book stores in the entire state. There is Rainbow Comics in Sioux Falls. There is the amazing Brookings Books and Comics in Brookings, South Dakota. If you ever want to just spend a whole afternoon just roaming these beautiful first edition books and talking to a very knowledgeable man, Rich Johnston has an amazing bookstore. Comic book shop in front, bookstore in the back on Brookings Main Street. And then there's a comic book shop in Rapid City. That's it in the entire state. So we realized that we needed to become a fan convention. And that opened up so many doors, because we're all a fan of something, whether it be cooking or craft beer or a specific genre of reading, whether that be horror or mysteries or romantic literature, or whatever it may be. We're all fans of something. Deep inside of our heart, there's something that brings us joy. There's something that we retreat to when we need to quiet our mind, when we need some peace, when we need an escape, so to speak. So we really kind of started to rebrand ourselves in year 3 as a fan convention. And 5,000 people showed up. So as we continue to grow, now we are a pop culture convention celebrating various fandoms. So what happens at SiouxperCon? Well, before I tell you about the things that we do at SiouxperCon, let me tell you about what really happens at SiouxperCon. In year 3, I had a young committed lesbian couple come to me, and they said that they had attended the first two SuperCons from Rapid City, and they felt so accepted that they moved to Sioux Falls. That's what happens at SuperCon. As we boothed at Pride 2 years ago, I had a young man come up to me and hug me and say, "Shane, so good to see you." And I didn't recognize him, but once he told me about his costumes that he created, I knew who he was. And he held me, this young 19-year-old boy held me, and he said, "Because of SuperCon, I had the courage to tell my father I was going to fashion design school instead of engineering school." That's what happens at SuperCon. I have had mothers with tears streaming down their eyes as they watched their high school child who may be ostracized for their love of anime or manga or superheroes or something completely different, costuming, makeup, whatever it may be accepted in a group of people who are just like them. I've had staff members who never really felt accepted take on a role and run a cosplay competition of 150 people, facilitate, create a convention setup of 100 vendors and guests. A young man who started with us in year one found his home and has run our ticketing for us. And Chris is an amazing man, and his love of wrestling and of comic books, he found people who had those same interests. That's what happens at SuperCon. We pride ourselves on being inclusive and accepting of all people and creating a place where you can come and celebrate your fandom without fear of judgment, without any apologies. We ask you to be bold and bright. We all know the headlines that are out there. And last year, I had a man in his 40s come up to me and thank me because he had the courage to wear a dress in public for the first time at SuperCon. And he had always wanted to, he said, but it took him to his third convention, his third visit to the convention, to feel comfortable enough to be his own self. That's what happens at SuperCon. It would be easy to be a convention for craft beer. By the way, we've had two craft beers created for us at SuperCon by two different breweries, and we're working with a third one for this year. It would be easy to just have a convention for cooking. Celebrity chef Justin Warner has been one of our guests the last 2 years. It would be easy just to have a convention for Supernatural fans. Jim Beaver from Supernatural was our featured guest last year. And oh my gosh, he was busy. We had to, for the first time, we had to create the Disney line, the little cattle catchers, as people stood for hours to get a photo with him in front of the Supernatural Impala and get his autograph and talk to him. It'd be easy to do a Supernatural fan convention. Heck, it would be easy for us to have stayed in a hotel and just done a small comic book convention with creators, you know, and Pulitzer Prize winners from across the country coming in and touting their newest creation and selling their books and signing books. It would be easy to do a video game convention. We have a video game room with 28 screens of games going on at all times throughout the 3-day weekend. 2 years ago, we overheated one of the 3-room breakout rooms at the convention center. They had to bring in those floor fans, you know, that dry things because teenage boys are sweaty. And, you know, 100 teenage boys playing video games for 8 hours on end. We overheated the room and they had to bring in floor fans to circulate air through the room. It would be easy to be a tabletop gaming convention. Our tabletop gaming convention last year was so busy. 3-room breakout room. If you've ever been in the convention center, across from the main area, we had 3 of those rooms, 3 of the big breakout rooms full of tabletop gaming. We had to move 4 tables out into the breezeway so people could keep gaming. And they gamed from 10 a.m. until midnight. There were people playing tabletop game. It's such a huge, huge renaissance of tabletop gaming. There's I think 3 tabletop gaming stores just in Sioux Falls right now. It would be easy to have a cosplay competition. Every year we have these amazing costumes, and I mean beautiful. Go to SiouxperCon.com or go to our Facebook page and just scroll through the photos and see the beautiful craftsmanship that people put in for the whole year to create a costume. We have 100 to 150 people show up in these handmade costumes and get judged and put themselves out there, and then do a huge parade throughout the convention center so everyone can see them in their beauty, and then walk across the stage, strike a couple of poses for our celebrity judges, and then they're all validated. Whether you win or not, it's the validation. 3 years ago, the year before the pandemic, we had a gal come across the stage, and she was dressed as Maleficent, from the fairy tales, the wicked stepmother. And as she stood on the stage with the horns and this beautiful dress, she pulled these strings right here, and 6-foot wings came out on either side of her. They opened from her back. 6 foot of feathered wings, not cloth, feathers. Can you imagine the time it took to glue together and make the apparatus to open a 12-foot wingspan on either side? So that would be easy to have. It'd be easy to have a costume competition. It would be easy to have a vendor fair. We have 70 to 100 vendors, giving them an opportunity to be before, 3,000, then 5,000, then last year, 7,100 people came to SuperCon last year. 7,100 people to see artisans who spend the year making crafts, making pins. We have 2 ladies, their whole setup, they get a end cap every year, and their whole setup is 2 Christmas trees with nerdy fandom Christmas decorations hanging off these Christmas trees. And they sell like crazy. So that'd be easy to have. It'd be easy to have a vendor fair. What's made it, I think, unique and exciting for SuperCon is we do all of that and more over 3 days. Educational panels. The last 3 years, we've had the cast of Mythbusters Jr. appear at SuperCon. And it's so cool to see peers engaging with peers. So Allie, right from here in Sioux Falls, Rachel Pizzolatto from New Orleans, Noah Horland, who was one of the cast members from New York, and they come, and these are 8 kids that are 18 and under. They've already been on TV on the Discovery Channel, on Discovery, on Mythbusters Jr. And here they are sharing their love of science with their peers, and we give them a main stage show. It's so amazing. We do educational panels with artists. Last year, we had the pleasure of hosting Maria Wolf Lopez, who is a Native American female creator from Chicago. She is the hottest cover artist in comic books today. And we were her very first convention last year. And she was so eager to do her, so you can get, when you come to a convention, you can ask the artist to do a custom sketch for you. And she was there as people were tearing down on Sunday at 5 p.m. around her. She sat at her booth, determined to finish all of her custom sketches so that she could give them to the people rather than go back home to Chicago and then mail them to the people. She wanted them to have their sketches there. She's coming back this year. She's fantastic. She is, to say that she is a bundle of energy would be a gross understatement of who she is. We've had New York Times bestselling author Bill Willingham. And it was very cool when Bill appeared in year 3, and Mike Huther came out and welcomed everyone to the convention. He was the mayor at the time. And Bill was our first big panel after opening ceremonies. And as he sat, on our main stage in front of, roughly 100 to 125 people, he just stopped right in the middle of it. He said, I never would have thought that this would happen in the middle of nowhere, Sioux Falls, South Dakota. And here was this Pulitzer Prize, New York bestseller, New York Times bestseller author talking about his creations in front of a crowd and getting super intelligent questions asked of him. Yeah, it's been fantastic. Last year, we had a voice actor who is part of the very, very popular anime series Avatar. And she is one of the main characters in that anime. And she did a panel that was so full in one of the breakout rooms that people were sitting on the floor, had filled all the chairs and were sitting on the floor and leaning against tables. And she did her panel in character and talked about sexuality, sex, sex roles, drugs, the dangers of unprotected sex, all this with young. It was very empowering. It was very powerful. So we have a magic show. Travis Nye comes and presents a magic show every Sunday right before closing ceremonies, and the laughter and the amazement from people. Sunday is our family day. Throughout the weekend, we have a kid zone. It's called Kid Zone, where we've had Lego users group. We've had first Lego League. 2 years ago, we had two of the stars from Fox Network's Lego Masters building with them. We have had Science T from PBS is a huge hit in the Kid Zone, huge hit. So throughout the week, we have that going on for younger kids and their parents. But on Sunday, we have our family day. Last year and this year, it's sponsored by Dakota News Now. And so we have all family programming. So we have a kids cosplay competition. Last year, families got to watch the movie The Neverending Story with Atreyu himself, the little boy who rode the flying dog throughout the Neverending Story. Noah Hathaway, the actor, was one of our guests. And on Sunday, he sat and watched the movie with families on Family Day and talked about, being a young actor and answered all the questions and was completely charming. We also had the Butterfly House last year, the zoo. We've had this Sioux Falls Community Library involved. So we do all this. We do all these things. And here's the kicker. Every year we give away the money and we start all over again. We are a nonprofit. And to date, over 8 years, we've given away over $25,000 to Reach Literacy for adult literacy and to the JY6 Foundation for Childhood Cancer Research. Easy way to run a convention is to pocket the money. It really is. You don't have to go out and beg for money from sponsors. You don't have to start from scratch again every year. You don't have to claw and worry about, are the bills going to be paid? Are we going to be able to give to our partners as much as we want to? Well, when Brian and I started this, we decided that we didn't want to do things the easy way. We wanted to not only create this space of creation and acceptance and inclusivity, we wanted to do it to benefit people in the community. And that's been very important for us. So we'll give a check to JY6 in March, and we'll give a check to Reach Literacy as they get closer to opening their new edition. And for 2023, we have committed to giving money to Make-A-Wish of South Dakota and Montana. Our hope is that by giving them, $5,000 plus, that we can help a worthy child receive a wish. So it's very important to us. It's very important to me personally because it's affected my life, but it's important to the entire board and the staff of SiouxperCon that we continue to give back to the community. Friday, we always kick things off. We're always the last weekend of September. Friday, we kick things off with a little teaser. We open up the vendor hall and let everybody see all the cool things for sale and meet some of the guests, and we'll have photography sessions and autograph sessions. And then Friday night, we have pro wrestling. Pro wrestling is a huge fandom. It is soap opera central, man, and we're very blessed in Sioux Falls that we have a organization called Flagship Pro Wrestling, formerly Midwest All Pro, and great men and women, great men and women who perform for us, and we draw about 300 people on Friday night for that. And Saturday is our really big day where it's photos and it's panels and it's gaming and it's, oh my gosh, so much happens on Saturday. And we kind of end the day part at 5 o'clock, 3 to 5 with the cosplay competition. Vendor hall shuts down about 7, and then Saturday night we have what's called SuperCon After Dark, adult themed entertainment. Not lewd at all, but that's not what I mean by adult themed. But maybe it's a comedian or improv. We've had improv, we've had comedy shows, we've had karaoke, we've had dances, and the last 3 or 4 years, golly, I want to say this will be the 4th year. We've had a wonderful burlesque show that draws 350 plus people on a Saturday night, the largest burlesque show in the state, and it is a blast. It is fun, and then we'll have panels and different things going on. Even like the gaming room gets in and they do Cards Against Humanity and they do different things there. And then Sunday again is our family day where we really focus on family programming. So it's a lot of fun, and we've been blessed to have amazing guests. Like I said last year, Mr. Jim Beaver from Deadwood, Supernatural, The Boys. I mean, you name it, he's been part of it. Was our featured guest 2 years ago. I thought he was just a fun guest to have. We had Charlie Schlatter. Charlie was in the movie 18 Again with George Burns, and then he was the co-star of Diagnosis Murder. He's a voice actor now. This year, we have some amazing guests coming. We have Mr. Jim Cummings. Now that name probably doesn't mean anything to you at all, but Jim Cummings is the voice of Winnie the Pooh and has been the voice of Winnie the Pooh for years. Not only is the voice of Winnie the Pooh, he's the voice of Pete. He's done just his list. Like as you go through his Internet Movie Database page, it is just page after page of these iconic characters that he's voiced over the years. So he's one of our guests. I used to have to beg for guests. I used to have to reach out on Facebook or Twitter or go to these promoters and say, would your person come to SuperCon? Now the promoters contact me, and I'll end before I open for questions with this. Our big guest this year coming is Sean Gunn. Sean Gunn is Kraglin, Rocket Raccoon from all the Marvel movies, and he was on every single episode of Gilmore Girls as kind of the odd little freaky town guy, and I can't remember the character's name, that had every job in the world while he was on Gilmore Girls. So we bring in celebrity guests, comic book creators from all over, vendors, wrestlers, burlesque performers, Ghostbusters, Mythbusters, magicians, scientists, you name it, we do it. 3 days of fandom. I'd love for y'all to come out and join us this year.
Thank you. Gosh, that is amazing. We just to be on the record here, Shane did ask me this year to be on their board of directors. I'm so excited. I said yes, but I have not attended a con. It's been on my list for so long, but I am a big fandom girl, and I can tell you, you probably all know all my fandoms because I talk about them all the time. So I feel like I'm catching up a little bit with things, but I'm so excited to be a part of this organization that's giving money to Make-A-Wish, Reach, and JY6. Let's see, I do have a couple questions in here. How many people came last year, and what was the median age of attendees?
7,100 people came last year. That was 5,000 paying customers, that's 10 and over, and 2,100 10 and under. Um, we skew 50-50 male to female, and our average age of our attendee is 28 to 38 is our average age. But we have volunteers and fans in their 70s, down to high school kids volunteering.
Wow. And Shane, you should know that Allie Weber's grandma is on here with us today.
Oh, hi there. Yeah, Allie's amazing. I really dig her a lot.
She's done Ollie classes for us. She is fantastic. There's Linda. She's signing in. Yes. Hey. she's proud of all that stuff that Allie does. Wow, what a
Oh,
kid.
yeah, she's amazing.
Oh my gosh. Jolene, give me a thumbs up or say or hop on if you want to ask your question about your brother-in-law. Because she sent it to me direct message, so I'm not sure if she wants me to ask it. Let's see. We also have someone said they thought they heard Katie Sackhoff was planning to
Okay,
come.
so there is a there is another amazing convention that is only in year 2 here in Sioux Falls. It's called Voices Against Cancer, and that is all voice actors. And Katie Sackhoff will be part of that. That is a one-day event connected with the St. Baldrick's Association. So if you've never heard of St. Baldrick's, it's the largest organization, nonprofit organization to raise money for childhood cancer research. And Rob Kiesacker is the head of that here in Sioux Falls. And so Voices Against Cancer happens in July out at the convention center. And SuperCon will be there, so you can stop by and visit Randy, myself, Nelson, Thea, whoever's working the booth. But yes, that's another amazing organization that you should support. They are strictly voice actors, and they are adding some vendors this year. And all of it goes, and they have the St. Baldrick's shaving event happening during their event. So, yep.
Cool. Someone asked if we could have a cat fandom convention.
Oh my gosh, last year we had cat rescue, we had 2 dog rescues, and you could go, the cat rescue made this really cool Gotham City cage where you could go inside and cuddle with the kitties and adopt them. So yes, we do that. We do
I did
kitties and we do
not know
puppies
that.
and we do pit bulls and we do, and it was amazing. So Rick Leonardi, who's this big time comic book creator from New York, Sunday I find him on the floor rolling with one of the pit bulls that was up for rescue, rolling and getting his face licked. And he had gone and stepped into the green room for coffee and came out and was rolling on the convention center floor with a puppy.
Oh, and we just got a note that says from Randy, who's on the board also, and she said there's even more cats coming in 2023. So there you go, Anne. I mean, Shane, you could have had me at cats. Good grief. Mary says there's so many amazing people supporting SuperCon, from attendees to organizers to performers, guest speakers. Wow, gonna have to check it out in 2023. I know, right? Isn't that great? Wow. Well,
My wife came on board to the staff the last 2 years, and she, of course, had been drug kicking and screaming into it just through her marriage to me, and she was just so impressed with the number of moms who come out, with and with their kids, and are just coming for the kids, but then end up engaging and having more fun than the kids do.
right. Stacy says she's going to bring her teens. They've never been. So
Oh yeah, they'll love it.
she has the smelly boy type that do people have to dress up, or
No.
you can come wearing
Yep.
anything, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Come in comfy clothes. It's very funny how I've been amazed with the number of people that show up in costumes, because we live in South Dakota where cosplay is camo, right? It's like, camo in a deer stand is cosplay in South Dakota. So to have, 150, 200 people show up just for the competition, and that's not counting the people who aren't comfortable enough to be in the competition and just show up in costume. So yeah, you'll see that a lot, but you'll see just as many of us. They forced me into cosplay last year because my staff is awful and hate me. So I ended up being the old man from Jurassic Park last year. Stacy, stop it.
Awesome.
I see you, Stacy. Stop it. Yes, they bought me the cane with the amber fly in it, and I wore the hat, and it was awful. And so I may or may not look like him or Dave
Oh my
Holly, one of the
goodness.
two.
Well, I have promised everyone that we would finish at 1 o'clock, and I want to respect that time. If you
Sure.
have more questions that you would like to ask Shane, we encourage you to email them to us at ollie@usd.edu. I'll pass those along to Shane and get back to you with those. So send me an email if you have more questions. Otherwise, what are the convention dates, Shane?
Oh, geez. So we are September 29th, 30th, and October 1st at the Sioux Falls Convention Center. You can buy your tickets online now, or day passes, walk-up day passes are $15 only.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Shane. I learned so much today, and I'm so excited to be a part of this. Thank you, everyone, for attending. I hope we will see you the rest of the week. Take care and stay warm. Shane, thank you.
You are so welcome. Thank you, everyone.
Absolutely
Have a good day.
fantastic. We'll see you soon.
You bet.
Bye.
Bye-bye.